Have you ever felt like nothing you did was good enough for your mom, or that her love came with conditions? Only when you pleased her and withdrawn when you didn't. If this resonates, you may have grown up with a narcissistic mother. Hello there, everybody. In today's video, I want to focus on how narcissistic mothers traumatize their children, and not all their children, specifically uh, the ones that they've chosen as the scapegoat, so that you can recognize the patterns and understand that this wasn't your fault, and you can start reclaiming your peace. So let's look at how a narcissistic mother traumatizes the scapegoat. And she has a tendency to use emotional manipulation. So, what she would do here is she would gaslight you. She would specifically say, um, that's not how things happened. Um, Even when you clearly remember, um, this is how it happened. So she will deny things and then twist the events to make you feel like you're crazy. One example of this is so she would say, that never happened, you imagining things, even when you know very clearly that that is exactly how it happened. Or something my mother loved doing, she had her golden children and she had a scapegoat, which was me. And she would then um, gossip to me about the golden child. And when I don't want to do anything that she wants me to do, she would naturally run to the golden child and say, oh, do you know what your sister had to say about you? And even though I would stand up for myself and say, I didn't say that, that you said that, she would immediately turn around and say, I never said anything of that sort. You did it. And, it kind of like makes you wonder, did I actually say something like that? During that conversation, did I say something? You start um, um, second guessing yourself. That is exactly what you do. And then um, love from the narc mother is always conditional love. So her love and approval only appear when you meet her expectations. So if you did well at school, she downplays it, saying everybody could have done that, or um, do you know so and so done better than what you did? It's always a case of she gives that sense of you're not good enough, and you've always got to work harder, try harder for her love and approval. And then blame shifting. Woo! Right? She blames you for the problems in the household. She blames you for her mood swings. She blames you for absolutely anything that goes wrong. It's a interesting story. Um, I was the eldest of six kids, and she left the iron on the one day. She had ironed and she forgot to pack it away. And my baby sister uh, walked up to the iron and touched it. But um, it wasn't anything severe, she just like, that shock where you touch the iron and then you like immediately step away. So it was just a surface burn on her hand. And she immediately turned around and said to me, "Didn't you say that you were going to use this iron? This is the reason why I left it here." And I was like, "Well, I'm already dressed. What exactly would I want to use the iron for? I'm dressed to leave already." And she was like, "I know it's you. I know you told me that you need to use this iron." So she makes everything your fault, even though, um, you know, from in this example, I was never going to use the iron. She would never own up to the fact that, well, she forgot that the iron was on there and this is the reason the accident happened. No, it immediately became my fault. Um, let's move on to how they undermine your self-worth. So there's always comparisons to others. She constantly compares you to siblings, cousins, friends, basically anybody that she can make a comparison to, and she will make you feel inferior. In my case, she loved comparing me to my siblings and to one of my cousins. So she really, I feel, wanted this cousin as a daughter. She like, would have hoped and prayed to have this cousin as her daughter. And anything she done, she would be like, "Oh, she's doing so well in school. She's doing so well in sports. She's, you know," um, and she would just absolutely praise her. And the minute I took part in sport, or I done well in sport, or I done well in school, she would just like brush it off, like, "Oh, you can't take part in that sport. You can't go out of the school grounds without my permission and go to another school to play sport. That's not allowed." So on the one hand, she's praising the cousin for doing these things. On the other hand, when I do it and I excel, it immediately becomes a problem. You can't do that. No, I didn't give you permission to do that. She's better than you. So you get that inferiority complex from them. Um, the criticism and the belittling. Oof. Nothing you ever do is good enough. She critiques your choices, your appearance, your achievements relentlessly. And this ties into the comparing you with others. It's part and parcel of that. So when she compares you with others, she will criticize you and she will belittle you in that same sentence, that same way. She will just carry on with it, withholding praise or validation. So even when you succeed, and this definitely ties in all together, it all happens all at once. So when you succeed, she acts indifferent, and it leaves you feeling unseen and unworthy. So, for example, the same thing like with my cousin succeeding in sports, she would be like, "Oh, wow, she's always there, she's coming out first," and I would have probably ran the same race in my group, my age group, and I would have come out second or third, and it would have just been brushed off like, "No, I didn't even see that. Didn't notice that. Oh, really? Did you come out third? Even though you get the medal, there's no validation whatsoever. It's like she didn't see it. She knows nothing about it. She's too focused on the cousin to even notice you." And then we have the controlling behavior. Oh, sorry, I keep on knocking the table and shaking the camera. The micromanaging your life. She controls your choices, your friendships, your career decisions, insisting that she knows best, even chooses your clothing for you. So this is what happened to me. She I finished studying at university, I got a job, and she went out and she bought clothing for me while I was at work. And when I got home, she was like, "Oh, I got you work clothing, babe." And I looked at the stuff and I was like, "Well, this isn't really my style. This is not something that I would like to wear to work. I think maybe it's more your style." And she completely went off on me saying, "Wow, you don't even know what you should be wearing to work, and that I've chosen for you is appropriate work clothing. You don't know what appropriate work clothing is, right?" So absolute insistence that she knows better than what you know. And she also, the job that I took on, she was like, "Oh, isn't it too far for you to drive? You shouldn't be choosing something that's so far away. You need to choose something that's around the corner. You're not gonna manage." Then the creating dependence. She discourages your independence, making you feel guilty for wanting your own space, your own life. So if you at a stage where you getting that job, earning your own money, wanting to buy your own car, wanting to get onto things in life, wanting to naturally progress in life, she's there behind you, discouraging you all the time. Do you think you can manage with that? I don't think you should do that. Woof, that is too expensive. Don't buy that. Don't do that. Why do you want to do this when the stuff is here at home? Why are you wasting money? It's a whole um, everything ties into one another. She makes you second guess yourself. She makes you feel unworthy, and she discourages you from becoming independent. Why? Because she wants you there, hanging on to her apron strings so that she can control every little move. Then the punishment and the silent treatment. And I've done a video on the silent treatment. Go and have a look at it. But if you defy her in any way, she punishes you emotionally. She withdraws affection. Not that she really gave you any in the first place, but that little bit when she felt like, "Oh, hey there." Those little things, she will withdraw that and she will give you a silent treatment. So you do as I tell you to do, or else I will punish you. And then we come to how this all impacts you long term um, and emotionally. So you end up suffering with long term trauma and severe emotional impact from everything that the mother does. So, growing up with that narc mother often leads you to chronic self doubt. You can't even make simple choices like, what do I want to eat today? Are we going out? Um, say your significant other comes along and says, let's go out for supper tonight. I feel like, um, we can just have a break. Let's go out. And naturally asks you, what do you want to eat? And you're dumbfounded. I don't know. Why don't you choose? You can never, you can never even make those simple choices. You chronically doubt yourself. Like, should I be doing this? Should I be going to this place? Should I get in my car and go shopping? Should I, you're constantly doubting yourself. You constantly have fear. She's installed so many fears in you that the world out there is crazy, it's bad, it's everything. So you're chronically doubting yourself and you have this intense fear within you that you you just feel like a complete mess at times. You have anxiety around relationships. You feel responsible for everybody's emotions. So if you're around people that are generally, say for example, emotionally immature, and they can't understand what you're saying to them, or they don't understand, they not processing it, they just, everything becomes dramatic, you actually feel responsible for that behavior of theirs. It's like, oh my god, what did I say to set them off? What did I do? What did I How did I contribute to this? You're constantly blaming yourself for other people's emotions, and you have extreme difficulty setting boundaries as an adult. So the narc mother would have always crossed your boundaries. Um, you could never keep the door closed while you're changing. You could never have any sort of privacy. Okay, I grew up when there weren't any cell phones. So yeah. so um but in the case of the newer generation, I mean, even having a cell phone, she would go through that phone because your privacy is absolutely nothing to her. She does not have the ability to keep that boundary, and also she's never established that relationship, that open relationship with you. So she's always thinking that you're doing something behind her back, and she goes snooping. So, because of that, you generally have the tendency not to have boundaries with other people. You think it's fine when somebody oversteps your boundary. You're so used to the fact that there were never boundaries in place before, that that's just how it should be. So, one of the first steps to your healing, and a very part, important part of your healing journey would be for you to recognize these patterns, because they crop up in our friendships, they crop up in our um, relationships, any type of relationship. They'll crop up in your marriage if you end up getting married. You need to understand that her behavior was about her and not about you at all. And this is something that can be incredibly liberating when you finally understand it, that she done things because of her, not because of you. And then you will start recognizing the patterns within your relationships with your friends, how um, you're the punching bag for your mother, and you're most probably the punching bag, or um, the person that they throw all the dirt at in your relationships as well. And I think that's all I have to say on this topic today. I just want you to remember, as always, you are not alone. None of this was your fault. Healing is possible. Yes, it is, even though it feels like it may not be. It is very possible. And it starts with awareness. It starts with you recognizing the patterns. It starts with you telling yourself that none of this was my fault, because at the end of the day, it was not your fault at all. And if this message video resonated with you, please subscribe and share your experiences down below in the comments. Your story will definitely help someone else feel seen, feel understood. And I will see you again in another video for insights on narcissism and ways to recover. Just remember, you're not alone, and we break free here together. Goodbye, everybody.